This episode is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. When you're hiring, posting your job on just one site isn't enough.
No, it's not, CC. It's not enough. And with ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites with just one click. Let ZipRecruiter's powerful technology match your job to the right candidates and use their simple dashboard to find your perfect hire. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours.
Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Tribune. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Tribune.
CC, it has got to be hot out there pitching in this summer heat. And when the temperatures rise, you got to cool down. You know this. This summer is going to be fire. And the New York Yankees are not the only thing heating up.
There's nothing better to quench your thirst on a hot summer day than an ice-cold, refreshing Pepsi.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, CC. So if you're going to the ballpark for a tailgate, or you just plan on watching the game from home with a couple of buddies, be sure to grab a Pepsi, because Pepsi pairs perfectly with game day grub like hot dogs, burgers, brats, pizza, peanuts, popcorn. What's your go-to food when you're watching a game, see?
All of it, bro. Are you serious? You thirsty yet?
I am. So remember, while you're stocking up on some Pepsi, be sure to grab a couple of bottles of new Pepsi Fire. It's a refreshing cinnamon-flavored cola available for a limited time.
Just like this season, it's going to be gone in a flash.
Pepsi is a proud sponsor of the New York Yankees and this podcast. We're in Houston, which is, this is your home, Jeff. How long have you lived here now?
Like 13 or 14 years now, and it's hot.
I was getting ready to say, it's hot.
This is a different level of hot right here.
Yeah, it is.
We were talking to Andy Pettit yesterday, and somebody was saying, like, you look great, man. He's like, have you seen how hot it is here, man? You can't get fat here. Like,
you walk outside and
actually, this is the fattest state in the nation, I think.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think I read something like that.
Well, just because it's huge, though. I mean,
but also think about how much you can eat here. Like the meat, they haven't talked about eating clean here. That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
This is what I love. You have a routine, and you just mentioned it to CC and us in passing, but like you actually get oatmeal at McDonald's every day?
Not every day, but okay. I'm going to say 6 days a week that I'm home. No, oatmeal. No fruit on top. I don't want to get too healthy. And a medium Diet Coke to offset the health of the oatmeal.
Just playing for a tie.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm fine with that. When you're this old at 55, if I get a tie, it's a win.
What's up, everybody? It's CC Sabathia.
Ryan Rucco here. Another episode of R2C2.
Yes, sir.
We get to talk to one of my colleagues and somebody who CC watches all the time because he watches basketball nonstop.
Yeah, we grew up in the same area.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jeff Van Gundy in the building. Thank you for being with us, Coach.
It's going to be fun. I'm here up on the 12th floor overlooking beautiful Houston, Texas. It's a good day.
You talk about that, CC. Like, that's the workout, right? Just playing for the tie.
Just playing for the tie. I work out to eat.
No.
I only work out because I eat so much.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm good with that.
Like, if you enjoy food, like, I don't want to eat, like, kale salad and stuff like that. I would like to have some pleasure at, like, these people who brag about, I ate carrots today. Great. Good for you.
Good for you.
I ate a steak, ribeye.
That's right.
Now, is the McDonald's thing just out of convenience, or you like the McDonald's oatmeal?
I mean, it's not that good, but it's it is convenient. Yeah, it's convenient more than anything else. And I'm not going to make my own. I'm too lazy to do that. So,
have you ever cooked a meal?
Oh yeah.
Really, you're a chef?
No.
Okay.
No, you said have I ever cooked a meal?
Okay.
When I was single, I throw in some spaghetti. I had that in my game.
That seems like the hardest thing to do is throw spaghetti together.
Nah, not that really bad. But I'll tell you what, scrambled eggs, anybody can do that.
That's the only thing I can do.
That's your game.
That's it. That's all I can do is scrambled eggs.
But you know what? It's a good meal for you.
Yeah, and
throw some cheese in there, a little mushroom.
Throw some bologna in there if you need to.
You throw bologna in the scrambled eggs?
That's the first time. You don't put ketchup on it, do you?
No ketchup. Hot sauce. A lot of hot sauce, though. I'm a big hot sauce on everything.
Yeah, see, I can't do any spice. I'll break out and sweat.
I get the acid reflux, so I got to avoid it as well. But play-by-play guys, we come with instructions.
Do you guys eat during the game?
I do.
Yeah.
So commercial breaks and stuff?
Absolutely. Now, the play-by-play guy will always limit the eating to commercial breaks. Sometimes the analyst will try and sneak in something that lingers into game action.
But not straight, more snack candy. Not,
Yeah.
It'd look weird if you had a pizza there. You know what I mean?
You do sometimes, right? Like Three Musketeers,
Yeah.
like little candy
Okay.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Candies
Yeah.
like that.
Fratello will do he'll have a huge pretzel and like a bag of popcorn. Like the whole third quarter, his
He'll eat
voice is going to
popcorn.
be different. Yeah, because he just
Yeah.
shove it in his
That's
mouth.
hard to do, popcorn. Yeah.
Well, those kernels get stuck in your throat.
Yeah,
So
that's-
it's dangerous. It's actually, you can't, but we'll go out to nice dinners or whatever in road cities and that. But I always picture Breen trying to drag you to a nice restaurant and you just being like, dude, I just want a burger. Like, this is how I picture this going down.
No, Breen is passive aggressive, and domineering in his own mild mannered way. We always eat at his places.
Yeah.
So
Right?
it's his spot.
It's always his spot. Oh, I got a great spot, and some of his great spots are just average.
No, come on. He has good taste.
Mark Jackson and I would agree. He overrates his ability to pick a great restaurant. He's too much influenced by who owns it.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got
there
a
you go.
buddy.
I got to
Yeah,
go to
no.
Prime 112 because Miles is there.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's not
But
overrated.
that's
it's
not
not.
overrated.
That's-
no.
You picked the worst spot. but
That's
Because it's
underrated.
amazing.
That's
It's amazing.
underrated.
that place
That's
is
underrated.
unreal.
it's unbelievable.
I'll eat there
It is.
every time.
Yeah.
I
we go there.
agree.
No, you can't. You have to go there. That's-
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
the spot.
But he had a joint in San Francisco during the finals that he told us, oh, this is great. So he built up the expectations, and then you're sitting there and that's it?
That was it?
Yeah.
You remember the place?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it.
That's one of the only places I don't have a place, is San Francisco, because I just, as a kid, never went over there growing up. So I don't really know anything about San Fran.
But is that
oddly enough?
Are you then? Because when you go back, then are you just eating at home
or
or
just room service, or what guys recommend, or we're Yelp and stuff? It's weird that I have to Yelp in my hometown.
Yeah, that is
You know
weird.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's, but I
Growing
just
up in
never-
Vallejo,
Yeah,
and
you
not
never
growing
go
up,
to
go
the
to San
city,
Francisco.
Like going to the city was maybe a birthday, passing through to go to Giants games, but never going to the city to go hang out and have dinner. So.
It's interesting. You guys you grew up in similar areas, right?
Not similar, literally probably-
30 minutes away, maybe?
Yeah.
Wow.
I grew up an A's fan. Obviously much younger, but 72, 73, 74, 3 straight championships. Dick Williams, Joe Rudy, Sal Bando, Burt Campaneris.
Was Reggie there for those teams?
Oh, yeah.
So Reggie was there for all of those teams that won before?
Right, Vida Blue.
Oh,
yeah.
Vida Blue's my man. That
Oh,
was my
yeah.
guy. I
One
met
of the
him in high
great
school.
names of all time.
That is a great
Vida
name.
Blue.
And he was.
He was one of their best pitchers.
Yeah.
in the back of that.
Charlie Finley was he was crazy owner, but he had some unbelievable dollar ticket nights. As young people, you would drive out there and go to the game. You and your brother could go for $1 each sitting in left field. I mean, it's
The bleachers were nice back then,
Yeah.
too, before they built Mount Davis out there.
Yeah.
It was actually a pretty nice park.
It was.
It was really nice before the Raiders came back.
And is that what? Because now it's such a dump
It is
now.
a dump,
but
man.
They haven't taken care of it.
At
Right.
all.
Yeah.
Renovated it, nothing.
It's been bad since,
And then you go to San Francisco, and that park is beautiful.
gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
That is. I got to. So my childhood buddy is their second baseman, Joe Panic, and so I'll go there occasionally, or I'll go to see him play occasionally. But I've only caught up with him on the road until last year. I went to that park for the first time. I was like, my gosh, that park is
amazing. And the fans are. I mean, it's a whole different fan base, and they get into it. And,
They do.
Yeah.
You want the craziest thing I saw? So last year, I went to one of the games, and Joe's like, I want to take you out to center field to see how far. They got that triples alley out there in right center that's 430 feet or whatever. So I look back, there's all these seagulls. He goes, you see these seagulls? They know exactly when the game ends, and they all wait to attack the field and the trash or whatever for when the field ends. And if the game goes into extra innings, they are all waiting on the top of the stadium for the game to end. He's like, it's something out of a movie. You're waiting for these birds to attack as you're on the field looking up at them.
I think there was a horror film about that, Birds. I think it was called Birds.
I
and
think
they
it was
attacked
called Birds.
Yeah.
But that happens
That's
in the
weird.
field there. It is.
That
It's
is
really
crazy.
strange. Did you go up room for the A's?
Both. I mean,
Okay.
I was a real big A's fan just because it was closer and easier to get to. But I went to a lot of Giants games too. But I mean, the A's were dominant back then with Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire, Dave Stewart was one of my favorite players, Dave Parker. So it was a lot of fun to watch.
But you were a Raider fan, though, right?
I'm a big-time Raider fan.
Right,
yeah,
so.
Still.
Yeah. I mean, it's so good to see him back, too.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I grew up like it was Daryl LaMonica, George Blanda.
Right.
Phil Hubbard, the Stork, Ted Hendricks.
Were you a Raider fan growing up?
Oh, yeah. They used to have a training camp. I don't know if they still do.
In Napa.
Now it used to be in Santa Rosa, not quite as
really?
nice. Yeah. And you used to like be able to like basically the field's there. John Madden is like 5 feet from you. Pull out a blanket, sit there, and watch Fred Biletnikoff put stickum on his hand and catch everything with one hand.
That's pretty cool.
It was like, literally that's access back then. Now
they're pretty good about getting out there. You can go. They have they train at the Napa High School, which they have a really nice football field and stuff. So you can go out and check it out. I took Lil C up there a couple years.
Did you?
When we first go back to California at the end of the year.
But see, you're excited about them going to Vegas, right?
I am excited because the stadiums are dumb.
Yeah.
And like even as a fan to go and watch the game, it sucks. Like there's no good suites. There's no. I mean, you go to other stadiums, it's exciting. Like you go to Oakland and it's really
Look
it's
at
really
you.
a dump,
There's no
man.
good suites.
It's not. I mean, like there's no good suites, no good seats. Like the whole thing is just.
How's the food?
Terrible. It's not good.
So-
I mean, they got
Vegas-
Kinder's barbecue and that's it. Really,
I'll tell you what, Vegas, it's going to be great.
I know it's gonna be great. The only thing we're gonna be lacking is a tailgate. Because the tailgate, for Raider Nation is a big thing. I mean, I'm sure people will figure out how to get it done, but I won't be able to tailgate anymore flying in from Jersey.
Where is the stadium going to be in Vegas?
I guess it's at the end of the strip somewhere down by the Mandalay Bay. I heard.
Okay.
So
it's going to be kind of like right.
It's gonna be right in the middle
action.
of it. Yeah.
It's going to be right by the airport. You could take CC could take his private plane in and just like be at the game 5 minutes
Right
later.
there.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That's
what I'm saying.
amazing.
I'm excited. Like spend a weekend in Vegas or spend a weekend in Oakland. Like
It's
I
true.
mean,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
Like-
not close. There's something about the Raiders being good too that I just feel like is good for the league. That's one of those teams that same way the Cowboys, as much as like as a Giants fan, I like to have them as a punchline. Like them being good is good for the league.
Well, they just travel, and we have it's a big fan base.
Yeah.
And they travel all. Raider fans travel all over. So when they're good, you see a lot of Raiders hats and people dressing up, and in the different parks. So it's a lot of fun to be a fan right now with them being hopefully good for the next couple of years.
You get mad, like, will you?
Yeah, it
will
ruins
you,
my day. You mean if they lose
yeah,
and stuff?
yeah, yeah.
My wife won't talk to me. Like my kids know, don't come downstairs. They don't even come downstairs when the game's on. And like, on Sundays, I like to be around a lot of people. I like to entertain, and I have boys come over, but I won't either. I'll kick them out before the Raider game starts or after, because I feel like people just love to hate on me. So like, if the Raiders are playing, let's say the Texans, but I have a bunch of people from New York up there. They just love. They're going to root for the Texans just because I'm such a big Raider fan, and I can't stand it. So you got to get out of my house.
One of the things I love about both you guys, and I get to work or be around both of you, is you're both big sports fans. Like Jeff, you get into your Houston Texans now. You've moved on from your Raiders. You're a diehard Texans.
Well,
fan
we beat them last year, the Raiders in the
not
playoffs.
without my quarterback though. Let's not claim that.
We didn't play a quarterback either. Okay, so
you didn't sign a quarterback. When you signed a quarterback, you didn't show up.
So we've moved on from that too. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson's the real deal.
Yeah.
We traded for him.
Did you go to many games?
I'm a season ticket holder.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So when I got let go by the Rockets, we stayed, and so I got 2 season tickets about at the 10 behind the Texans bench because my older daughter is an absolute huge sports fan. So we went. Now she's just graduated from college. So I said to my younger one who's going into 7th grade, now that, hey, your sister's out, you get to go to the Texans games. And her response was, do I have to? 2 different kids, She doesn't want to be taken there. It's like she's like thinking I'm kidnapping her, so.
That's a nice stadium, though. I like that.
It is. It's nice, and it goes back to what you were saying. A lot of it is like, that's how you can enjoy a game, good food, good seats. Like they have it, it's a retractable dome, but they never retract it because of the heat until maybe in December.
Right.
So it's nice. It could be pouring rain out, but it's
You're
great.
comfortable. Yeah. And you're not in Oakland.
No.
Not at all.
I've only been there for baseball games.
How was that?
Terrible.
It's awful,
It's
right?
awful. It was terrible.
Just imagine like playing there and like.
Oh my gosh. Well, no, but now it sounds like they're gonna have a new baseball stadium. With the Raiders leaving, it's almost sparked the A's to do something
Warriors
about
leaving
it.
too, right?
Yeah.
The Warriors are leaving after next season.
I think
Or
two more.
Two more, I think. Yeah. Now, you know what? I wanted to ask both of you guys about that because you both know the area, and obviously, Jeff, you've been around the NBA forever, and Cece's now a Warriors fan again.
What do you mean now? Well, I had season tickets for the Warriors. Don't get that started. Let's not get this started.
Oh no!
I grew up a Lakers fan.
That's okay.
Yeah, but then when Shaq left, I left, and I came up to the Warriors, and I got my season tickets. This was back when they had Al Harrington and Steven Jackson and
Baron Davis.
Baron Davis was on that team, so I bought season tickets then. You know, and it was the start of what
You still
what it
keep
is
them?
now. Yeah, my
Oh
uncle
wow.
uses them. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So he uses the Raider tickets too. So
Does he really?
Yeah, I mean, he just took them over.
Okay.
This year I caught that Spurs game, that really big game that was supposed to be a big game, and
the Warriors killed
yeah,
them,
they
right?
beat them by like 40 or 30
Yeah.
or something like
You might
that.
have been doing that game.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah. Great game. Yeah.
I
No,
left
but-
by the third quarter.
Yeah. I wish I could have. No, but it's interesting. Like, I think it's going to be interesting to see about their fan base
Yeah.
when they go across the bay with the traffic. Does their fan base change? Because right now it's as good a home fan base. They were great even when they're losing,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I'll be interested to see how it changes or if it changes at all. I wonder how many people give up their season tickets not wanting to make that trip.
I think it's going to be rough. I think it's going to be a whole totally different fan base.
You're talking. You're going to have to leave
Right
an
after school.
Right.
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
really.
Yeah.
Or take BART. And who really is going to take BART? I know it's going to be supposedly convenient, but I don't see taking.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
it's going to be a totally different fan base.
So then it just means everybody who's already on the other side of the bay is going to be going then.
Yeah,
But
get to
even
enjoy
that
it.
is not easy. Like you talk about the people down in the tech companies. I mean, the traffic is real in downtown. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy. I think it's going to be interesting. Where do they practice? Like, are they
Right.
going to practice in San Francisco, which would mean all of
They
those
have to
guys
live
who
over there.
they'd have to live over there, which, and probably live in the city.
Yeah.
Which,
You have to live in the city based on where the facility's going, especially for
and
traffic.
basically
stuff.
none of them live there
no,
now.
they all
they
live.
all
Yeah,
live. Yeah.
they all live out there. That's a great point. That's like one of the most underrated parts of the NBA equation always, right?
The practice facility,
yeah,
right?
where the practice facility is in relation to where you live.
Triangle between the airport, the practice facility, and your house, right?
right.
Like, you got to have a good triangle.
That's a huge thing though in the NBA, right? Like I mean,
Well, think about it. You guys don't have. I mean, you
We don't
have
have to worry
yours.
about
You don't
that.
have to worry about it. You're either
Yeah.
playing or you're off, right? And
Yeah, I never even thought about that though. But like the practice facility is where you spend most of the time, right?
That's
Never
it.
in the arena.
You see how Jeff was still trying to get the triangle in,
Yeah,
even
you
though
see
the
that?
triangle's gone now. Triangle's gone.
It is definitely going down.
Well, you know what? I know he was a contemporary who you would coach against, with Phil. But I'm looking at his comments publicly. I'm like, what is going? You don't usually see someone, even if they feel that way about a star player. I was taken back by how candid he was that entire time about what he wanted with Porzingis and Melo. It was odd.
you know what kills me though? The media asks questions, and then they're going to criticize a guy for giving honest answers.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you want? Like canned, trite cliches? I mean, you asked, he answered, and again, like a lot of people, and myself included, thought business-wise, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
If you're going to want to, because Anthony had the no trade, so you're going to have to convince him, and probably the best way of convincing him is not to attack him publicly. With Porzingis, it was a little different. I think his feelings were hurt by him blowing off an exit meeting, and so he sort of wanted to try to put it out there that they weren't going to tolerate it, but I never thought they were going to trade him. I don't know about if baseball does those exit meetings or not, CC, but I never did them as a coach. It's like a waste of time. Like 12 hours after you lose in the playoffs, you're going to talk about next year, the next morning, and tell a guy how he's going to have to do his whole summer. I mean, like, let's just let it lie there for a couple weeks, and I'll get back to you.
Do you
Yeah.
do them?
Nah. I mean, baseball, it's just certain guys, they call them in, but for the most part, I mean, they contact you, and they can never get contacted me because I changed my number right after the season. So, but I mean, there's no real, like, big time meeting or anything that you have to be at. You know, you grab your stuff and go, and then when they want to get in contact with you, they will.
By the way, Dylan Betances is a huge Knicks fan. He was very
Yeah,
about
he's
them
Knicks
trading
fan.
Porzingis.
Yeah.
He did not want. He was.
they were
worried
never
about-
gonna
I don't
trade
think they
him.
ever were going to trade him either. And I think like with Phil, I think he's just kind of. I don't think he was fed up with the job, but I think he was just kind of fed up with the players. Like he dealt with Kobe and Shaq and MJ and Scottie for so long, and now he's got to deal with like Melo and Kristaps. I know he signed up for the job, but I feel like he was just kind of like a little over it, like where he was just like, I'm gonna say what I want to say,
and try and find a way to get my $24 million and not have to work anymore.
Trying to figure out how to finesse his money out of here.
Exactly.
But
And
also,
just-
too, it's such a different job, right? I mean, it's like you're not having your hands on the players every day. And I thought that's what was an awkward situation. He obviously still had an itch to want to impact on the court because he would go on the court and practice at times, which I thought put his, Jeff Hornacek in a
bad
awkward,
spot.
awkward situation, and trying to run a system that maybe the president believes in, maybe as a head coach you didn't believe in it as much. And I just thought that was very awkward. And I think health reasons prevented Phil Jackson from doing what he probably wanted to do, which is coach the team. And I don't think just because this bump in the road with the Knicks, it should not impact at all his what he accomplished in the course of his career. What he did as a coach was remarkably successful.
Anytime you have a guy that's over the coach or the manager that's really hands-on, that's around, it kind of puts in a bad spot because players feel like they can just go talk to him instead of go talk to the manager or the coach. You know what I mean? So that puts the coach in a bad spot.
What about when a guy like, let's say Reggie Jackson, is around the batting cage, right? And obviously he's got a wealth of knowledge and he's incredibly accomplished, but I don't know, he may have totally different philosophies on the actual mechanics of hitting compared to like Alan Cockrell or Marcus Timms. Do you have to be like, tell you guys like, hey, I know you want to respect Reggie, but you don't have to absorb everything he says?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a big part of it. I mean, for me, always, and I told this to Judge last spring training because last spring training, man, everybody was in his ear talking about this and want to do that and, hit like this, and he was trying everything. I'm like, yo, you don't have to try everything. You know what I mean? Like, be respectful to to these older players and, people that are trying to tell you stuff and take what applies to you, and the rest of the shit, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like doing everything what everybody was doing. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. First of all, as a superstar athlete, like you got to do what got you here.
Yeah.
All these guys were here in Little League and high school and Fresno State with you, like telling you everything in the cage. So you got to figure out on your own what makes you good, and then just use the coaches as a guideline. But so we had that talk, and I'm the same way. I don't ever want to feel like I'm disrespecting somebody when they're trying to tell me something, but some stuff just doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I'll listen, what applies to me, I'll take, but, for the most part, I'll just, kind of say thank you and keep it moving.
I think that is so important, like selective hearing.
Yeah.
Every great player I coached had the right combination of coachability and stubbornness, and they couldn't be too coachable, like you're talking about, like trying to incorporate everything a coach wants to say, and they couldn't be so stubborn that they wouldn't listen to guys who had their best interest and really knew whether it was a shooting mechanic or a pitching mechanic. So you have to have that. But to think that you're a great player and you're going to try to do everything, sometimes the best coaching is leave your great players alone. and they're already rolling. And the other thing is, and you said it like sort of offhandedly, but I really believe this. Sometimes you have to let them figure it out. They have to know their own game well enough that they know this feels right or this feels off, and then they ask for some help. But trying to micromanage great players never works.
You're listening to R2C2 with Ryan Ruocco and CC Sabathia.
This episode is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. When you're hiring, posting your job on just one site isn't enough.
No, it's not, CC. It's not enough. And with ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites with just one click. Let ZipRecruiter's powerful technology match your job to the right candidates and use their simple dashboard to find your perfect hire. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours.
Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Tribune. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Tribune.
You know, you mentioned Pat Riley before, Jeff, and I can remember you telling us some stories because Jeff and I get to do NBA games together about Pat, where he was so secretive with his like team meetings and stuff. Like we see with Pop too, right? He's always like conscious of being bugged or somebody spying on him or something.
No, it's just, you know, like I think it's just a different era where you didn't want things out in the media, right? And so now everything's out, sources and this, and it drives coaches crazy with that. You can't talk to your team anymore without someone on the team leaking to whether it's players, personnel around, that sort of stuff. But he had some legendary pregame talks, and he would go hard to the well. Like, I still remember, like, he told this one story one time about, like, there was a high school football coach in West Virginia, supposedly, and he had won, like, 5 or 6 state titles. He retires, and but he lives right across this little pond from the high school practice field. So every day, even after he retired, this highly successful guy would go out, put his lawn chair out there and watch practice, but never interact with the new coach or the players. He would just watch from across the pond. Then at the end of practice, he would pick his chair up and go in, and he would do this year after year. So about 3 years into this, the program's fallen off a cliff, and they're bad. So he pulls his lawn chair out for practice, and the quarterback of that team decides, I'm going to go ask him what he sees. So he walks before practice, he walks around the pond and comes over to the old coach who's sitting in his lawn chair right in front of his pond and says, hey, Coach, I was wondering, I see you out here every day. What do you see that could help us? And the guy jumped up, grabbed the kid by the neck, and put his head under the water and wouldn't let him out. And it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds. The kid's now flailing. 30 seconds. And all the other players are watching across. This guy's trying to kill their quarterback. And right before it's too much, he pulls him up out of the water and throws him on the ground and says, when you want to win as badly as you wanted your next breath, it will all turn around.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So Pat Riley put his head into the water. He had a thing of water and basically was drowning himself. Oh my God. Yeah. And then like, and I'm talking like there for a while, right? Yeah. So he had some, yeah.
That's
a great story.
No.
Was that
I don't
the Knicks days?
That was the Knicks?
I think that was Miami he did, but he did some crazy stuff with the Knicks too. Like he came in one day with, came in before the game and had cleats on. And so you're hearing him walk from his office. He had metal spikes. And it's like clank, 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 clank. And usually he went on with a pretty in-depth talk. And, like it would be long, right? So on this one, though, everybody's looking at it because they could hear the cleats, and they're looking at him like, this dude's walking into the locker room with cleats. And he started kicking the whiteboard that all the strategy was on. He goes, when you go into second, you slide with your cleats up. That was it. And he like pounded the board. I mean, like, it's like, because he like to be tougher, right? Like, it's like, and like, but he had a lot of those, like, and he went where, like, but the very best one was the scorpion and the frog. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this story.
No.
Go for it.
So we were playing the Jordan Bulls, right? And this is '93, and this is when the game was different, right? Like there were flagrant fouls, but it was never called. No, never called, right? It was just like, hey, take two shots and we're going down the other way, right? So we're going to play the Bulls, 93, Eastern Conference Finals, before Game 1. And I don't know if you guys do this, but we always sat in the same spot for the pregame talk. So I always sat in between. Oakley was on my left side, Mason was on my right. So it was always
You
Oakland.
were protected.
Yeah.
I was good. And so Coach Riley's like giving his talk. Now, in the NBA, the more confused you are as a player, the more the head tilts, right? So some of those where Coach Riley got deep, Mason and Oakley's heads were basically on my shoulder. Right? So he starts in this with the scorpion. This is before game one. All our guys want to do is just, and we're at home. We just want to like get like at the Bulls, right? So he goes, Scorpion and the Frog. Has anybody ever heard of that? And like guys are like, I don't know about the Scorpion and the Frog. I just want Jordan and Pippen and whatever. So he starts. He goes, there was a frog in this lake, and a scorpion was on the bank, and the scorpion asked the frog, "Hey, can you give me a ride to the other side because I can't swim?" And the frog said, "No, because I know you're going to sting me." And the frog said, "Well, why would I sting you? You would drown, and I can't swim, and I would drown too." And they kept negotiating back and forth. Finally, the frog relented. Halfway across the little pond, the scorpion stings the frog. And as they're going down to their imminent death, the frog says to the scorpion, "Why'd you do that?" And the scorpion said, "Because that's what I do. I sting frogs." So Oakley and Mason's heads are now on my shoulder. And frankly, my head's a little tilted too, right? And so we had this assistant coach named Dick Carter, who was our defensive guru and one of the toughest dudes of all time. Would have been a great coach in any sport. So Coach Riley says to him, "Hey, Dick, you have anything to add?" So Dick Carter, he was like 65. He walks out there, his eyes squinted. He goes, "Yeah, Pat, I got one thing to add. When that fucking B.J. Armstrong starts twiddling with his mouthpiece, I want someone to rip it out of his fucking mouth and stick it up his fucking ass." And with that, Oakley and Mason's heads came up. Like, now you're talking my language. And
do this.
they exploded up. And Riley said, "Because that's what we do. We sting bulls." Oh, my goodness. These guys were on.
Legendary right there. Like,
These dudes were on fire. It was we won the first two and we lost in 6, but like it was like that one was the best.
that sounds like
crazy. You hear that in the locker room, you're fired up,
you're
right?
fired up.
Oh
Yeah,
my
of course.
gosh,
That's
that's
awesome.
an amazing story. I love that stuff. Anything locker room like that, man, and like those old school stories with what guys could do. Because you're right. Now I feel like coaches and everything, they're more worried about it.
Yeah,
It's
well, you
gonna
can't
get
say
out.
anything. I mean, you can't do it. I mean, just back to like D'Angelo Russell. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
can't. I mean,
right.
that's a teammate too.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't.
Well, that was some real man code
Yeah,
stuff.
you can't
but-
really. I mean, you got to be careful with everything that you do.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
no.
you know, it's harder to be a young player now. I mean, if I was now 21, like
Yeah.
with Twitter and everything, with the way I thought back then, like I'd be out of the league, man. I'd be tweeting people. I'd be going at people, like.
No, because it's so easy to judge these young athletes. But if you had that money, that access to trouble, like
and just the instant, like sitting on my couch, like, and I love to watch sports.
Yeah.
I'd be watching golf or something and tweet the wrong thing out. At 21 years old,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to. It's not hard to do what D'Angelo Russell did. Like that's wrong.
Yeah, but
it's hard to be a young player
I
in the NBA. I mean, in any sport right now, I think it's harder than it was before.
look at
this
your Twitter
generation.
mentions. Yeah, you got to avoid all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't even have Twitter on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't
during the
do-
season.
I don't do
won't. I
Twitter.
won't do it because I know myself. Like.
It'll get in your head.
Well, not even get in my head. I'll tweet back.
Oh, yeah,
like I don't let it get in my head. I'll just like
You start responding.
I like to
Yeah.
argue.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
Well,
So-
I just saw Kevin Durant after they won the championship. People were going at him, and he's answering back, and like, I'm like,
what are you
why?
doing?
You are one of the greatest to ever have done your job. Like, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Be one of the greatest to ever do your job. Like, I'm not even looking like what Larry, Moe, and Curly say, and I don't really care, right? That you want to say I took the easy way out? Great. Your opinion. You're still buying tickets. I'm still getting $30 million. I'm good.
You know what's crazy about? I keep telling people this, and like he wanted to go there. That's where he wanted to be. So I mean, and it makes it easier for me to like it, the move, because I'm a Warriors fan. But I really think that's where he wanted to play, is where he in the Bay Area, and he got a chance to make that choice, and He made it.
That's what free agency is.
Yeah. Free agency is way harder than you think it is anyway, by the way.
Just to, make the choices?
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
Because of why?
Just because you feel like you're going to be flying around all these places and you got all these teams, and it's literally one or two teams that you can actually go to, and so most of the time that's not the team that you want to go to, and you have to make this hard decision for your whole family. Are we moving from? For me, it was from coast to coast, and it was a lot tougher than I thought it was just going to be this honeymoon, and I'm flying to LA, and I'm flying to Milwaukee and Miami and seeing all these different cities, and it wasn't that. It was me sitting at home, basically taking calls from two teams, and kind of just waiting for it to be over. And
then coming to the Yankees, thank God, because there'd be no R2C2 without that decision. Jeff, what about Paul George with the Thunder? When I saw that move, I was like, I give the Thunder credit because they go for it, but I'm like, are they just doing it for a year? Are they thinking, hey, if we feel like we're not convincing him to stay, we can flip him at the deadline? Is he going to – I don't know if I can see him signing back there, but –
It's an unbelievable basketball town, though. That fan base is different. I think Indiana's fan base is very good. This is Oklahoma City's next level. Mm-hmm. They are into it now. And I also think they gave up a rotational player in Sabonis, and I think they're fine if Paul George leaves, that they don't have Oladipo on their cap anymore. Yeah. So I think they look at it as either way it's fine. Yeah. We either had Paul George. Let's say they make the Western Conference Finals, which you could envision.
Yeah.
Right? If they make the Western Conference Finals and they lose in a tough series to the Warriors, LA may still be a draw. Maybe he still goes there, or maybe he's drawn into the whole atmosphere and environment that Oklahoma City gives them.
But once you start winning, and if they start winning and they go to the Western Conference Finals and it's a good vibe and they're getting along and sharing the basketball, everything's good, it's going to be really hard for him to leave.
Did you feel that in Milwaukee?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I going from Cleveland to Milwaukee, I knew it was just a stop, but I had so much fun, and it was real magic there for a little bit. Was it sustainable? No, obviously, because we wouldn't have been able to pay everybody, but I really thought about going back there just because of how much fun I had, and that winning atmosphere and getting along with the guys, and so him and Westbrook, they never played together. I don't know if they know each other, but they might have some little magic in the locker room, and it might work out for them.
Well, think about it. Like you just mentioned, it's such a finite period of time that you guys have to play. You want to enjoy your work space and who you work with, and so it's not maybe he gave up some money. Let's just say he had to give up, I don't know, $5 million, which seems like I'm not giving up $5 million, but maybe for him, maybe that's worth a level of happiness that he's still ultra rich. So
exactly.
I think you can't, just because one person, I would never tell someone what to do. If someone wants to maximize and make every dollar, more power to him. If another guy wants to sacrifice a little bit of money to make sure he plays in a certain environment like Durant's doing, I understand that as well.
I think KD was really wanted to have fun too. I think he saw other teams around the league and enjoying themselves, Cleveland, LeBron, JR, and Shumpert, and what they had up in Oakland. I think he wanted to kind of be a part of something a little more fun than he was having in OKC. That makes sense.
Yeah. Playing in the flow of the offense. All right, now, Jeff, we'll get you out of here on this. Have you gotten a call from any of the Kardashians yet to thank you for your defense of Khloe during the NBA Finals? Because this was one of the most controversial things you've ever done.
Deal.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy how people were like, I was amazed. Even I heard you on with Michael Kay, our mutual friend, and he was like, "No, Jeff, you're wrong. This is clearly affecting Tristan Thompson." I was blown away by the reaction.
but no one said when Tristan Thompson played good in games 4 and 5 that it was because of Khloe. Yeah. If you want to blame someone, you also have to then they have to also get the credit then, right? And so the real deal is, when did it become okay to start making fun of and making light of someone else's significant other? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And so I was getting some jabs. Oh, you're going to be on the they have a show, right? And,
yeah.
Right. I said I think I don't think they really would like me on that show. So I'm good.
Well, Jeff, thank you for hanging out with us.
All right, it was great. Nice to see you guys.
This was a lot of fun.
theplayerstribune.com.